Thank you so much for the introduction. And thank you so much for being here during lunchtime. And thank you for inviting me to open this event. So my name is Anthony. I am the head of research and innovation at iExec. iExec is a marketplace for computing resources, and we have focused on confidential computing for quite a time now. I will tell a little more about it later. And the focus of my talk is how to bring confidential computing to builders on L2 so that every Web3 app can be privacy compliant in the very near future. So first, we need to talk about why are we even interested in this? Why is it important to implement privacy and confidential computing in Web3? The obvious reason is because literally every Web3 application has a privacy component. These are just some categories of my side is off. Every application has a privacy component. These are some categories on that radar, and these are the example. But for example, if you work in AI and you want to implement some sort of collaborative training process, you have to ensure the privacy of the input data that you train your models with. Otherwise, your users will not provide their data. If you are a DeFi project, you probably want to have a private order book so that you can protect your users against front training attacks. Social applications are the applications where people expect privacy the most by default. It can be in identity verifications. It is also a very, very big component of data tokenizations, content sharing, content monetization. Again, people expect that their data will be private by default, and that when they click the unshare or delete button, their data is actually deleted and unshared. And finally, in gaming, there are many, many projects with a privacy or a confidential computing component. For example, you can imagine offloading some complex game logic off-chain so that it can work on precious assets and being verifiable on-chain. And these are just some examples. So when we talk about confidential computing in blockchain, we actually talk about decentralized confidential computing. We want it decentralized. And the way we see it at iExec is that DCC, decentralized confidential computing, is a sort of trust and privacy layer on top of DeepIn, the infrastructure. And this is precisely what we've been doing at iExec. So at iExec, we are a protocol that protects the ownership and the monetization of data, applications, and servers. We are bringing together blockchain and confidential computing in a platform that can be used by builders in the Web3 space. iExec has been around for some time, so you could say that we are OG. We were at our ICO, during our ICO, a decentralized marketplace for computing power and data, and we have shifted towards confidential computing, and now we are really a platform for executing confidential applications with confidential data where the governance rules set by users are entirely enforced. And we have seen this sort of revolution coming up and happening. I'm not trying to hype this up, but this is really a revolution. We are today in a world where data is still being processed most of the time decrypted. Data is encrypted at rest while it is sitting on servers, on disks. It is encrypted in the network, but it is not, in most cases, encrypted during processing. And this is a threat for most applications. So how do we do it? If you look at my T-shirt, you can see trusted execution environments. So this is the ground technology that we use at iExec. I'm sure everyone knows about trusted execution environments, but contractually, I'm obligated to talk about it. So TEs are secure enclaves in modern processors that isolate workloads, data, and code from the rest of the world, even the administrators, even the OS, so that no one can modify the code, modify the data, and see the data. With a TE, what you get is total isolation, and you get a proof that your program was isolated. When you look at the result of a computation, you get a remote attestation that is basically a cryptographic proof that the output that you see is the result of your program running in a genuine, up-to-date, secure enclave. We use two TE technologies. One is Intel SGX, and one newer one is Intel TDX. SGX basically required more application transformation, and we are transitioning to Intel TDX. That makes it easier for builders to actually port their applications. But the technology is still very, very much complex. So the question is, how do we bring confidential computing technology that is on the left here, and that protects data during the execution, to builders on the right that want to tokenize the data, give ownership to the users, and implement fair governance rules that cannot be modified or circumvented? The answer is iApp generator. So an iApp is what we call an iExec application. Easy. iApp generator is a new command line interface that we released very recently. And what it allows you to do is to take your program and basically type, so there's iApp create, iApp deploy, and iApp run. You have your code, and with two command lines, the program will transform your application, verify its format and shape, verify that it can run in a TE. If modifications are necessary, it will do the modifications, and you don't have to worry about anything else. What you get in the end is your application that runs in a secure environment somewhere on a server. So that's on the decentralized physical infrastructure. And you get a proof of execution that you can give to your users. You have payment that is ensured by the protocol. And all of this is with the consent of your users. So what you get with iApp Generator is all of this built in by default. You get trust, you get privacy by design. Everything is verifiable for yourself, your clients, and your users. You get access to a decentralized infrastructure without having to know where it sits. It doesn't matter. You don't need to trust it anyway because everything runs in a TE. And you get complete fair monetization for your users. We have a few use cases. The first one I want to talk about is Web3 messaging. What it does is basically sitting on top of what I showed before. It is an SDK that allows your applications as a builder to email your users or send them messages on Telegram without ever knowing their email address or their Telegram handle. What that means is you get to message them. You don't have to handle the sensitive data. If they unsubscribe from your notifications, they cannot email you or send you messages anymore, and that's by design. And everything can be monetized. So you could, for example, provide your email address in a protocol and put a price on your email because of what your wallet looks like, because of what protocols your wallet has interacted with, or because of how much tokens you're holding. Then we have use cases around content delivery, and this is for content creating platform, more or less. So there you get a very high-level, simple SDK for setting rules around what your users want to share, which applications and which code can access the data, and for what price. You can add more constraints. For example, you can have a time constraint, you can have subscription, renewable subscription, and so on. And obviously, there are your dApps and the dApps from our builders. So we have a large ecosystem of builders. I am not going to introduce all of them, and maybe some of them are in the room, but this is growing. We are listed on the main exchanges. And so anyway, if you have questions about this, we have people in the room. Please come and talk to us. And finally, what's coming next? First, we have a grant program for AI applications. If you're interested, Nathan, our chief of ecosystem, is giving a panel in the other room at 1:50. So you can go and talk about it with him. We have an ecosystem fund that is launching. So with this ecosystem fund, we will invest in Web3 applications that we think are promising. We are building several demos on TDX to showcase what we can actually do with our technology. And the latest one is actually running ELIZA OS agents in TDX. So you have a a whole intelligent, smart agent that runs Unity and that can process various tasks securely on your assets. And we have new partnerships coming up. I cannot really talk too much about them because they are going to be announced in the next coming days, but we are bridging to a couple of L2s. And we are bringing this technology and these developer tools to builders on 2 new chains very soon. So also stay tuned if you want more on that. I think I was a bit fast, so this is all I have. This is my contact. I'm Anthony from iExec. Please feel free to come and talk. I'm ready, so I have time for questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.